Good to be back at training camp. Good to see the guys coming back in. Good to be back here at Grand Park. I know that I say this every year, but it's a tremendous setup for training camp. It's a great place for our team to get prepared. Can't thank the volunteers that come out and work. You have no idea what these people do on a daily basis to make this thing run, and I appreciate them. And they spend a lot of time out here. They get to know our players, and they're just really good people and really good. They serve and want to serve the community. And I don't know if y'all have ever noticed, but like the farm, the original owners of this land, the Woods family, I never talk about them, but they're incredible people, and it's fun. It's like one of the fun things about coming to camp. You get to see people you don't see very often, even though I live here. But to watch him and his family every day supporting out. They'll have 15, 20 people every day out watching practice, and it's just a neat thing for them, for their family, and it kind of sums up kind of who we are here in the state of Indiana. In terms of the team, we got a long way to go. All right, we're just starting out. No games are. Not played any games yet. We got a lot of work to do. I think we're a talented team, but we got work to do. And we'll get to work. No, you can't win in this league without the preparation that needs to be put in, during training camp. OTAs is great and it's great work, but it's different when you put the pads on. And so we got to earn it, and we got to go to work. And I think we got a good mix of vet and young players, and I think all of them are very hungry. I think we have a vet group that's really hungry and really determined to do some special things. We're just finishing up physical, so I'll just give you kind of a little rundown on what I know up to this point. So Chris Lamons, he will start on PUP. He's probably a week or two away, but just finishing up his rehab from ankle surgery. Goodson came in with a little toe injury, so I don't know. I haven't got word from the doctor yet. I don't know if he's going to end up on, start on any kind of list yet, but still working and determining that. Juju had an ankle cleanup right after OTAs. It was kind of bothering him, but he's good. He'll be cleared. He could be a little limited early for a few days, but I watched him work out. He looks good. Avery's getting close. I don't think he'll start on PUP. I think we'll go ahead him and start slowly working him back in after the injury he had last year. Same thing with Braden Smith. We'll start working him back in slowly. I don't think he'll start. I think we'll activate him. And then Doolin should be good to go. He'll be a little limited from the ACL from last year, but he will be good to go. Any other ones I don't know yet. I'm kind of waiting as we trickle. We meet here later and go through everything we need to get done. But mindsets are good, showing up, and ready to get started. Fire away.
We talked to Ryan Kelly. He was saying the reputation came to the Colts for an extension. Did not receive one. I guess where are you all at in that process, or do you want to extend?
Well, I don't talk about contracts, and every case is different. I think one thing we've proven since we've been here is we're really loyal to players that have been good players. I think that'll work itself out over time, but I'm not going to talk about contract stuff.
Chris, when you look at everything that you've done and wanted to get done, what are realistic expectations of this team? Not record-wise, but just, is this a contender? Should it be a contender of something?
I thought we had a really good football team at the end of last year. I thought we played really good football. Look, we lost a tough game to a good Houston Texan football team, and that could have gone either way. Game could have easily gone either way. And I remember telling Shane the week before the game that whoever wins is playing good football, is going to make some noise in the playoffs. So I definitely think we're going to be in the mix.
Position battles on your mind?
Well, of course, the ones y'all talk about, secondary. We need to come out and look. It might take a little time. Camp is camp and the competition that's going to happen, but even into that first month of the season. But the competition, Kenny's Kenny's he's a starter. He's a proven player in this league. But between the 3 or 4 young corners we have, it's going to be a good position battle for them. The battle at safety. So Blackman's entrenched, but we're expecting a big year out of Julian. I thought he played excellent last year, before he got injured at the end. But he was playing as good a football as anybody we had on defense. But then the battle between Cross and Thomas, and then I don't want to forget about Harrison and Dimbo. Harrison played good ball for us too last year, and we played him both at linebacker and safety, and he started at safety in this league a bunch of games and played good football. So those are going to be real, position battles to keep an eye on. I think the backup Mike behind Zaire is something you definitely need to keep an eye on. Who's the swing tackle? There'll be good competition there, between our young rookie Matt and, Freeland coming back. We thought Freeland had a really good offseason. I think he'll take another step. Who's going to be the 2 running back? Those are all good competitions to watch.
Anthony had that last day in camp where he didn't throw. Should maintenance days during camp be anticipated?
I don't think so. I threw 100 and I don't know how many balls did he throw the day before. He threw over 100 and something the day before. I mean, he could have been healthy and we might have pulled him back. I mean, when you fire that many balls off in one day, that's tough on any thrower. But no, I'm not expecting any limitations right now. None.
Is there a balance on how much you guys are expecting him to contribute this year and elevate everyone with the idea he's throwing 84 passes?
No, I think that's realistic. I mean, we liked all the stuff we saw, but, he's still got to go out and prove it over the course of time, like any player does. I mean, you can be a flash, but he's still got to go prove it over the course of time. But we think we've got a good football team around him where he doesn't necessarily have to carry us.
You think he'll play in the preseason?
We'll make that determination, but most likely I think those guys are going to play. Yeah.
What are you looking for out of him? Just this training camp, what does this kind of need to do for him?
Just continue to be consistent. Continue to look. The more reps he gets, the better it's going to be for him and for the team. So just continue to grow and learn, and just like any player, continue to be good at your craft and be the best you can be at your craft.
How much are you guys still learning about him? I mean, he has to grow and learn. But, I mean, you didn't have him for that long, right? I mean, are you guys still learning about him at this point?
No, I think we got a pretty good handle on. I know Shane does, and I know Jim Bob and the staff. They have a pretty good on handle who he is. I think I talked about this before. Like, there's a naive confidence that for a guy that hadn't played a lot of snaps, just believes that he's pretty freaking good, and that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And I think I talked to y'all before about, like, I do believe his poise is pretty rare especially for a guy that, really 84 passes, but you didn't see a lot of, usually with rookies you see a lot of panic when they're playing, a lot of frantic play. You didn't see that with Anthony. And I think that's a good sign.
How do you deal with 5 tight ends?
I think we got 6 on the roster, don't we? Or 7. We had 6 or 7. So they're all viable. I mean, they all got a little. Do we have a per se superstar in the group? Probably not. Do we have really good players at the group? Yeah. I mean, Mo Alley's got a role. Ogletree's got a role. Granson's got a little bit of a role. Mallory, we think, is going to do some really good things. We got to see with Jelani. Jelani showed some really good things as a rookie and then was hurt all last year. He's got to stay healthy, and let's see what he's got. Then you got Tomlinson, who's played in this league. And is a good wide blocking tight end. So I think that'll work itself out over time. I think you're seeing a league. I mean, I think with Shane and our offensive staff, they're going to play to the strength. So, like, if those guys end up have to be on the field, we're more 12, 13 personnel every once in a while, then he'll do it. He'll do whatever he thinks, and adjust every half to win. But I do think it's a good group. Might not be a superstar, but it's a good group.
So do the numbers become unwieldy there? I mean, with 5, 6 guys we're talking about that.
That's a good. No, that's a good problem. I mean, I'd rather us be talking about having 5 or 6 viable players at a position than going, we don't have but one viable player at a position. So that's not a bad thing.
What sort of upside do you see in EJ's speed this year?
I think the same upside I thought he played really well the last 2 years. He's been a really good special teams player early in his career, kind of like Zaire, kind of that same trajectory of development. And look, I love EJ Speed. He cares. He freaking is a great teammate, plays his ass off. I'm expecting, big things out of EJ. It's fun to watch him. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was a wideout at Tarleton State. Think about this now. He was a wideout at Tarleton. And they move him to linebacker, I think, the last 5 or 6 games of his college career. Then we draft him in the 5th. And, and it's been fun to watch him kind of develop and turn into the player he is. And he loves playing. I mean, he loves playing. That's noticeable. He loves to practice. He loves everything about the process.
What's your, I guess, since you've been in 2 playoffs, 2 other years where you're the last week and you're winning in, what's the frustration level of sort of being close but not, and whether it's been the quarterback, whatever, what's the frustration level?
It sucks. I mean, I think you know me well enough. Like, I've never once sat up here and made an excuse. Like, when it's not good enough, it's on me. That's just how I roll. I mean, I think people that are scared of criticism, usually they don't keep moving forward in life, and they just settle into being who they are. And that's one thing I'm not as scared. I won't make excuses, and I'm not afraid of the criticism. And look, when you don't win the Super Bowl or win a division, you're going to take some heat. That's okay. All right, that's okay. We think we got a really good football team, and now we got to go earn it. We got a long way to go it's a long season, so lots can happen, and I think y'all all know this now that, how you start not is always how it ends up looking. I think every team's different. They all evolve as they go along. But, we feel like we're in a pretty good position right now.
Camp schedule's pretty spread out. Is that like a sports science thing, or like what? I think you don't go back to back to back any days, only a couple back to back.
Yeah, Shane and our strength staff and medical staff, a little bit of it's kind of how the league has drawn it out to start. And then the rest of it's kind of Shane's. He maps out with the strength staff what we think, we can get the work in without doing the best we can to get people injured. But look, it's football. Guys get hurt. I mean, it's football. This is a contact game. It is. And things happen and you move forward, and, I don't want to sit here and prepare for the worst, but it's going to happen across the league, and you keep moving forward. You try to mitigate that by setting up practice in a way where you can get great work in, but also when there's times their body's in a stress mode, let's make sure we get them enough rest where they can recover.
We always talk about quarterback and coach pairings, and how that matters a lot for both parties. How would you say Anthony and Shane, how are they a good pairing for each other?
I think whoever, I got such faith in Shane as an offensive coach and as a leader, he's able to adapt to whatever the quarterback can do. I mean, that's a proven fact throughout his career. So, and I think their relationship is really good. And it's that's honest, where Shane will challenge. And then as a young player, as Anthony continues to grow, he will challenge back, which is a good thing. But I think that's really one of Shane's strengths. I think Jim Bob Cooter doesn't get enough credit sometimes, but this guy's outstanding now. I mean, he is freaking a ball coach. And it was really like going through the draft process, just going back to that, and just how he evaluates players and has a great feel for how they fit, what he wants to do with them. I mean, he's got a real vision. Shane's got the same thing with him. So, but the relationship, it is important. I mean, I think any head coach, it just happens that Shane happens to be an offensive coach and a coordinator, but the head coach-quarterback relationship is critical for the success of any organization.
Chris, when you look at your tenure here, what you have done, what you haven't done, I guess how do you balance, maybe this hasn't been as successful as I wanted to as far as wins and losses goes, playoff success, but also this is a new era, new season, and a new chance to do something different?
I think anytime it's, anytime when we had the coaching change with Frank and switched over to Shane, there is change. I mean, there is a change, some of, kind of what he was looking for in players. And it was a good start, not how we wanted it because we didn't make the playoffs, which always ramps up, a little bit of tension because we're competitors. We're not getting in this thing to fail. No, we're in this thing to win. And so I think anytime you don't finish the way you want to, which at the end of the day is everybody wants to win the Super Bowl. So everybody, other than one team, everybody's a little disappointed. But I'm encouraged about where we're going, the adversity we faced last year and overcame. That showed a lot about not only the team, but our coaching staff. I mean, it could have been easy to melt down last year, and they didn't. They fought and gave us a chance to get in at the end of the year. We just didn't, at the end of the day, we didn't get it done.
You do a few more enough offensive playmakers, receivers for Richardson, and there's a guy that's available, maybe. And I know you can't talk about the guy out west, but just wondering, it might come a deal where you really don't have the luxury of seeing what you have. You either jump, you don't jump. Just how aggressive might y'all be with your cap space?
Well, there's two things there that I will say. One, I do like our set of weapons. I do like A.D. Mitchell. I like Pierce. My feelings on Pittman, and I think Downs is really freaking good. Like I think I got over. I don't know. I got talked about enough last year. What Downs was. Downs did some freaking good things now, and I think he's about to explode. So I do think we have enough weapons there. In terms of aggressive with cap space, I mean, always like if there's somebody that in a position we think we would.
Chris, when we talk about projections and what you anticipate, last year you kind of thought what the pairing would be like with JT and Richardson, one or two plays. Now you've got it from the start. Do you really anticipate that can be a pretty interesting pairing? What they can do for the defensive coordinators?
Jonathan Taylor will have a big year. That's where I'll stop. He'll have a big year. Yeah, he'll have a big year. Yeah.
What order and safety-wise you went through the spring? Obviously, you watch those guys. What has kept you from making the better move, either corner or safety?
Well, the word "better" that's subjective. That's a subjective term, and
Better move, I guess.
yeah, I mean it's so. We like our young players, and I'm not saying we won't do something. We definitely could, but I want to see these young guys, get after it and compete.
Because the idea that like 3 or 4 receivers are going to get high volume in the offense, that's not really the reality, right? Like these guys are going to be playing more roles. They can help the offense, but it's not like 3 guys are going to catch 75 balls.
Why not?
Doesn't really happen in the NFL, like most teams.
I don't know. I mean,
Unless Peyton's here, then it happens.
yeah. I mean, there's teams around the league where there is only one ball. I think the distribution I think they'll all be, whoever we settle in on, but I think all of them will get their fair share of touches, if that makes sense to you. I mean, Shane's pretty good about divvying out who needs to have the ball in their hands. And look, if they each catch 75 balls, we're freaking scoring a lot of points. I think we got a chance to be a really, really good offensive football team. I think we're good up front. I will, on my gravestone, it'll say O-line, D-line. I just believe in it. I mean, I just believe in the long run as the season goes on. If you're not worth it up front, it shows up. It shows up. And I think we're really good up front. Now we got a lot of work to do. Some young players got to come through, but I think we got good depth at both the offensive and defensive line. It'll be great competition to play. That's what you want.
So last one here.
How have you guys prepared for the new kickoff rules? I know you drafted rules.
That'd be interesting, man. No, our special team coach studied it hard. Of course, we've talked to guys who have coached it in that league, got their take on it. It's going to be interesting. I mean, we want it to be an advantage, and we think we got some guys with some juice that can return with gold, and getting Flowers back there, and then we have some guys that can run and are special with the ball in their hands. But I think we got to get into the preseason and see exactly how it's going to look. It's going to be an interesting to see how teams react to it and adjust to it as we go along. And I think we're still going to see more adjustments to how it's officiated. It's all new. It's all new. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.